Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and today we're going to delve into another true crime story together. Jessica Lane Chambers was born on February 2, 1995, and grew up in Courtland, Mississippi, a small town with a population of approximately 500 people. Jessica was known for being a popular cheerleader in high school, and for her tough demeanor, which stemmed from a difficult childhood. In the early 2000s, her father pleaded guilty to manufacturing crystal meth, and was arrested for driving under the influence. Jessica also witnessed her neighbor being shot multiple times in their yard. Her father later found work as a mechanic for the local police force, and Jessica found herself drawn to a slightly larger city than her hometown. However, those around Jessica began to notice a change in her behavior, as she started associating with a different crowd, including convicted drug dealers. She also started dating a man named Travis Sanford, who was soon incarcerated on criminal charges. Jessica expressed concerns to her father that people believed she was informing to the police due to his connections. Although she did not provide further details, it was clear that tensions were rising and something was troubling her. On December 6, 2014, Jessica, according to her phone records, spent the day with her mother and friends around town. In the afternoon, she returned home for a nap before receiving a message around 5 p.m. Jessica informed her mother that she was going out to get food and would return shortly. Surveillance cameras at a gas station in Courtland captured Jessica at around 5:30 p.m. as she refueled her car with $14 worth of gas before heading towards Batesville, a city just 5 miles away from Courtland. Based on the GPS coordinates from her phone, Jessica drove back to Courtland at approximately 6:30 p.m. and called her mother, Lisa. Lisa sensed that something was wrong as Jessica was unusually quiet during their conversation. Subsequently, Jessica's phone indicated that she drove her car to a secluded wooded area and parked it around 7:30 p.m. The events that followed were shocking for the entire town. At around 8 p.m., a passing motorcyclist spotted a burning car in the woods and a figure, seemingly human, stumbling nearby engulfed in flames. The motorcyclist immediately dialed 911 for help. When emergency services arrived, they found a burning figure approximately 30 feet ahead of them. As they approached, they discovered Jessica engulfed in flames. A firefighter who had gone to school with Jessica remembered that the fire was so intense that it had burned off all of her clothes and singed her hair to a crisp. He admitted that her injuries were so severe that he couldn't even recognize her as his former classmate. More than 98% of Jessica's body had been burned, and the flames were so hot that they had turned her black car white. The firefighters quickly wrapped her in blankets and jackets as they worked to extinguish the flames. Once they laid her next to the fire truck, they realized that there was little they could do for her extensive third-degree burns. Despite this, they noted that Jessica was resilient and was attempting to communicate with them. In an effort to assess the damage to her lungs and provide comfort in her final moments, they spoke to her. They questioned her about who had harmed her. As she was nearing death, she uttered, "Eric set me on fire." However, due to her severe injuries, the paramedics believed she had said the name Derek instead. She passed away the following day in a hospital in Memphis. Law enforcement searched the area and discovered Jessica's car keys had been discarded on the side of the road, a few miles from where her car was found. Family and friends gathered at the scene, where Jessica's car was covered under a blue tarp, awaiting examination for evidence. It was puzzling, because no one knew of any acquaintances named Eric or Derek that Jessica had. Despite this, the local police began their investigation with this lead. They questioned every Eric and Derek in the vicinity, but ruled them out as suspects. Jessica's boyfriend, Travis, was also eliminated as a suspect, as he was still in jail. Based on Jessica's phone records, there was nothing out of the ordinary leading up to her death, except for a random trip to Batesville. The police began investigating Jessica's inner circle, including convicted drug dealers and current and former gang members, but found no leads. A reward of $54,000 was offered to the public for information, leading to the questioning of 150 new individuals, but still no progress was made. In February 2016, law enforcement finally had a breakthrough and charged 27-year-old Quentin Tellis with Jessica's murder. Despite his criminal history, including burglary and drug possession, the sudden charge surprised many. Evidence of communication between Jessica and Quentin, along with his involvement in another murder in a nearby state, raised red flags for law enforcement. Quentin, a gang member with a lengthy criminal record, had previously been arrested for credit card theft and the murder of Ming Chen Xiao, a student from Taiwan. The court couldn't proceed with Ming Chen's case until Jessica's trial was settled. Jessica's family was relieved to finally have a suspect in custody. Despite a mountain of evidence against him, convicting Quentin for Jessica's murder was challenging. Police were able to connect Quentin to Jessica through her phone records, including text messages and GPS location data. And all evidence indicated that Quentin had been in contact with Jessica several weeks before her murder, and was the last person to have texted her before her death. Quentin provided multiple alibis, but they seemed to unravel at the police station. Initially, he claimed he had only been with Jessica in her car until 7 p.m., then went to a friend's house to spend the night. However, the friend denied this, stating he was at a football game, which was confirmed by ticket records. Quentin then changed his story, saying they had gone to a Taco Bell in a different town, before returning to his house to listen to music in the car. He claimed Jessica left at 7 p.m., 30 minutes before her death, but phone records and gas station footage contradicted this. During questioning, police tried to persuade Quentin to confess by suggesting Jessica may have been driven to the remote location where she was killed, rather than meeting someone there. Despite evidence showing their phones were near each other in the woods, Quentin maintained his innocence. Quentin's DNA sample was taken by the police, and they were able to match it with DNA found on Jessica's car keys that were discarded on the side of the road. Coincidentally, the location where the keys were found was just a few miles away from where Jessica's burning car was discovered. It was also revealed that this location was close to Quentin's sister's house. Surveillance footage showed Quentin using his sister's car that night and heading towards Jessica's location at 7:50 p.m. Cell phone records showed that an hour after Jessica's death, Quentin deleted all messages and data related to her. Police were able to recover deleted messages that showed Quentin had been pursuing Jessica for weeks, asking her for sex multiple times, which she consistently rejected. On the day of her death, he had asked her 4 times, and she had refused each time. Based on this evidence, Quentin was charged with Jessica's murder in February 2016. He pleaded not guilty, and the first trial began later that year. Prosecutors argued in court that Quentin had suffocated Jessica in a fit of rage after she once again rejected his advances for sex, while in her car in his driveway. They believe he then drove her car back to her hometown and left her in the woods, before returning to his sister's home on foot, disposing of Jessica's keys along the way. Once at the location, it was reported that Quentin used his sister's car to return to his own home, retrieve gasoline, and then drive back to Jessica's whereabouts, where he proceeded to set her on fire. Medical professionals testified in court that due to the severity of Jessica's burns, it would have been extremely challenging for her to speak properly before her death. They noted that even when she tried to state her name to the firefighters, she mistakenly said her last name was Yambers instead of Chambers due to her injuries. Jurors deadlocked during the trials in 2017 and 2018. After the second mistrial in the Chambers case, Quentin was returned to Louisiana to stand trial in the 2015 stabbing death of Ming Chen Xiao. Quentin pleaded guilty in 2016 to illegally using Xiao's debit card and was sentenced to 10 years as a habitual offender. According to the Mississippi Department of Corrections website, Quentin is tentatively scheduled to be released from prison on October 16, 2027. Thank you for watching, everyone. What do you think of today's story? Write your opinion about this case. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on new stories from around the world. See you soon. Take care.